And welcome on into the JawJackin'Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Just making sure the audio is recording because I set a slip up before that. You can find all of our social media at www.jawjackin.com, and that covers YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud, something else, maybe. I don't know. Very professional. One thing that I'll tell you about, you might be wondering, why is there a pop filter? Well, I'm kind of old school, so I kind of like that, but also there's a mystery thing, that I will maybe in a later episode reveal, but for now, I want to stay, is it Wilson? From Tool Time? Wilson? The fence guy? The neighbor? I don't think it's Wilson. Anyway. So what happened with the first episode? The reason that I didn't post it is because I am a recovering alcoholic. And that's a fight that I will be having for the rest of my life. But it's a fight that I'm in. Going round and round, and I got too drunk, and it's not that I couldn't air it, but it would just be really unprofessional if that was the first episode, so I didn't find that to be an option. Anytime I refer to us, we are, it's because I started this idea with my best friend John, and he was on the first podcast, and it really pushed him away, and that definitely hurts me. I've talked to him, and he will be on the podcast again, hopefully consistently. Otherwise, it will just be me talking directly to the camera, to you, or having a guest. And I do have guests line up. I do have guests lined up. 2 for sure. So hopefully it'll ramp up within the next couple of months. A little bit about me. My name is James Norton on the interwebs. I go by Jameis. Jamus. Don't want to be confused with Jameis Winston. Not the same person and not the same spelling. So, I am 32 years old. I am 25% Irish, 25% Native American Apache, and 50% African American. So I am a mutt. But I'm very proud of that. I have 2 kids, a son and a daughter. I'm going to go more into that in a later episode. But just to let you know a little bit about me, I am a hotel supervisor. I essentially live in my studio space, sometimes in my car. I'm trying to practice minimalism, and I'm finding that it really does make me happier not having so much stuff and not having the stress of this payment every month of an apartment that I just can't really afford, and that's definitely helped me a lot. Sorry, I'm trying not to say but it's gonna be a ongoing process, so if you just stick with me, I will get better at this. Promise. I'm hoping to do something at least twice a month to start, but once a week is what I'm aiming for eventually. The reason that I started this podcast at the time I did was the wrong way to do it. I lost my mom December of last year, and I started this a few weeks later, and it was just the wrong move. I was not actually dealing with my grief, and it caused a lot of problems. I'm not really going to go into detail because this is really just an intro video, and I don't want to make it seem like this is what the podcast is. It's not about, it's about anything and everything. That's one of the phrases that we use. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. We can go from football to politics to religion to funny jokes. It doesn't matter. I'm willing to explore anything and everything. But one thing that I did over the summer is I really researched and looked into a lot of things as far as dealing with grief. And it really messed my head up. And I suffer from depression, anxiety, and it just, what I did it was not good for me. So I really tried to change my life, and I did for the better, and this is absolutely a part of it. And I'm not trying to sound preachy, because to each their own. Whatever makes you happy, I hope you're doing it. I hope you keep at it. And if you're not happy, change it and do whatever you need to do. But one thing I will say is that talking to other people, whether it's a therapist or being in a group, there are groups in any city that aren't just AA or NA. There are groups that you can go talk about anything that's troubling you. Anorexia, alcoholism, drug use, depression, any number of things. And you just talk. There's no judgment. There's nothing like that. And I really encourage people to get help. And I'm not trying to sound like I go to therapy, you need to go to therapy. It's actually very hard where I live to get a therapist. I had a really good one and I lost her because they're few and far between. But if you are suffering, just find someone or a group and talk out loud. It's not good to live in your head. With that being said, though, this podcast is not about self-help. It has nothing to do with that. This is just for entertainment. So, thank you for tuning in or watching, possibly. Hopefully, things will get better. I mean, the lighting and I know the sound. There's a shh. I'm going to try to fix that in post. But it's just a work in progress, so you're going right along with me. But I appreciate you, and I appreciate you tuning in. So for all you jawjackers that are actually out there, thank you again. I will see you next time, and I will close out with the closing statement. Something that I said at my mother's funeral memorial, and just something that I say a lot. I didn't invent it, but I do try to live by it. So, love and light. Till next time.